Slow down here.
Hey everybody, this is Atticus, the Death Metaller, and welcome to another longly awaited episode of the Death Metaller Reviews. Here in this episode, we are going to be reviewing Bad Wolves and their debut release, Disobey, which I have their album right here. So, let us begin the review for Disobey. Now shall we? Now, usually when I do a Death Metal Reviews episode, I tend to always do a little history biography at the very beginning point of every The Death Metal Reviews episode. But Bad Wolves is unfortunately not an exception. They are a recent new band that is gaining a lot of popular attention and stuff, but the members are veterans and have quite amazing resumes on what bands they were in and the music that they have played. And I think the lineup for Bad Wolves is really amazing. So we are going to be focusing on the lineup for Bad Wolves. The band's lineup consists of the following 5 musicians. The first, of course, being the vocalist, Tommy Vext. Now, Tommy Vext happens to be a really kick-ass vocalist that I discovered in 2002 when he was in the band Divine Heresy. I absolutely loved his style, his style of growls as well as clean singing, and it worked so well for this guy. He also filled in for Five Finger Death Punch for a brief time when Ivan Moody was going through rehab, and then he was also briefly in a band called Snot. Like, why the fuck is there a band called Snot? And he also was briefly in a band that he was in called Westfield Massacre. The next member is the lead guitarist, Doc Coyle, whom is well known for being in the New Jersey groove metal band God Forbid, which if you haven't checked these guys out, I highly recommend that you check out God Forbid. And it's absolutely unfortunate that they're not around anymore, but Doc Coyle is a testament to God Forbid's legacy. Then, of course, we have the drummer John Boakland, who's actually, I believe, is the founder for the band. And he is well known for being the former drummer of one of my favorite groove metal bands, Devil Driver. And the motherfucker can drum. And the other 2 members happens to be Chris Kane, who was in bands like For the Fallen Dreams, Bury Your Dead, correct me if I'm wrong if he was or was not in For the Fallen Dreams, and the bassist Kyle Conkeal, who was in such bands like Vimich, Scar the Martyr, and In This Moment. Disobey was produced and mixed between a collaboration of John Boakland and Tommy Vext, along with the producer Mark Lewis, who is well known for producing with such metal acts like Chimera, The Black Dahlia Murder, Devil Driver, and Unearthed, just to name a few. The theme for Disobey is mostly talking about social and political issues that are going on in the 2010s as of right now, along with some songs that Tommy Vext written personally about a lot of stuff that he went through, which I have not a big problem with both. I think those are really good topics to talk about when you're writing it into songs and all that stuff, and I encourage it. But this is an album that not only talks about these issues that are going on in the world and what Tommy Vext went through, but they were also scrapped songs from when John Boakland was during his Devil Driver days. And I think it's really cool that they decided to take these scrapped songs and put them to work and use them for Bad Wolves. And we are going to be reviewing these songs right now. Oh boy, time to start the list of songs with a very controversial topic. Now, those of you who are unaware over that little thing right there, I'm of course talking about the very first song off of Disobey, Officer Down. And of course, the song is pretty much about police brutality and Black Lives Matter. Now, you would think that as a person whom has made a few videos against Black Lives Matter, I would not like that song. Wrong. I actually like that song, and I think it was a very fair statement that Bad Wolves was making. Are there cops that abuse their badge onto people? Absolutely. But are all cops bad? Absolutely not. And I think that the song really made a very fair point onto police brutality and, you know, what the black community has to go through, along with what an officer has to deal with. Being a police officer is not one of the funnest jobs at all whatsoever. You really got to basically serve your community and have to deal with a lot of creepy assholes and shit like that. But also, there are cops that abuse their power and abuse their authority onto unwilling, unsuspecting people, in a sense. So I think it was a bit fair, unlike other artists that talk about social issues. But what do I feel about the song? I think the song is very aggressive. It has a very aggressive approach to it, and it also fusions up with Tommy Vecht's clean vocal side, which I think, you know, it's a very aggressive song. Then again, it's basically talking about a very, very, very controversial subject when it comes to black communities as well as the law enforcement to this very day. Now that I tried my very best to talk about Officer Down, let us go to track 2, Learn to Live. It was actually the first single that I've heard from Bad Wolves, and I really did enjoy it. It has a very aggressive Meshuggah track along with melodic side onto the chorus, which really works very well. Amazing enough, that song was a scrap song from John Boakland, and they decided when Bad Wolves was being formed, they decided, why the fuck not? Let's just bring this track out there. Now, personally for me, how I feel about this song, like, it is a really good workout track when you're at the gym, you know, doing your cardio, bench presses, deadlifts. It is a excellent and just perfect workout song when you're hitting the gym. Have a listen. Track on this list is the song No Masters, and I think this is a really fun song, a very energetic song. It has that very, you know, bluesy as well as hard rock vibe onto this song. It's a very fun song to where you just, you know, get drunk and stuff. I feel it has that sort of vibe. That's the first thing that got into my head was when I first heard the song No Masters. The chorus is really uplifting. It's very, you know, it's very uplifting, and it's just, you know, a positive song. Just, you know, just don't take shit from everyone. That's what I'm trying to get from this song right there. But it's a really fun song, very hard rock bluesy song. Just a really awesome and fun song to listen to. The next song on this list is personally, in my opinion, the best song off of this album and my favorite track off of this album, Remember When. This is a very powerful and personal song that was made by Tommy Vext, detailing his relationship with his twin brother. And it talks about how they grew up together, how they took their separate ways, and how pretty much just his twin brother was high, broke into his apartment, walked in, and he pretty much temporarily killed Tommy. If you don't believe me, here's this interview right here.
In 2010, he broke into my apartment, and I came home to a home invasion, and he struck me with a crowbar, fractured my skull, broke my arm, and beat me up till my spleen burst. And you know, I was rushed to the hospital, and you know, I died, and it was like a thing. You know, it was pretty crazy. And this song is really like an open letter to him.
I think it was a real breakthrough lyrically, because so much of the record, I think before that, was a bit more metaphorical, and we felt collectively when we heard it, we were like, wow, this is another step. You know, the fact that he would be willing to go to those lengths expose kind of himself in a vulnerable sense about something so personal, but we also felt that's exactly the type of thing that people are going to relate to.
And I just gotta say, just temporarily dying and coming back to life, that is absolutely crazy, as well as, you know, having to testify against his own brother and having to like go through the healing process and all this other stuff. And upon, you know, that experience, he actually, you know, became a motivational, you know, coach, helping out people that were in his situation, because he couldn't help his brother, so he decided to help other people that were in the same situation as him. And I find that very absolutely noble over to Tommy Vext. This song, in a sense, is basically an open letter for his brother, which is currently serving 17 years behind bars. And I think it's a really personal, very, you know, emotional song. Even when making that song, it was very personal for Tommy Vext, and it was like a long time to like make a song off of this, and he finally had that creative, you know, freedom to do so. There are plenty of other metal musicians that have made a lot of very personal songs, like take for instance Jonathan Davis's song Daddy, which is a very, very emotionally messed up song in which details on how he was sexually molested by his father. Even singing that song, he breaks down from the footage that I've seen when he was singing Daddy. It's a very tough song for some people. There's some songs that, you know, remind them of that very fucked up memory, and I can see that with Tommy Vext with Remember When. Now, I could relate this song in some ways. Now, I am very thankful and I am blessed beyond oblivion that I did not have that situation with my older brother Miles. And there are some parts of the song where Tommy says, "I want to be just like you." I could relate that so personally for me, because when I was young, I really looked up to my older brother, and you know, he was one of the biggest role models that I grew up with. And upon, you know, discovering my path as well as Miles's path, we still have a great relationship together, and I cannot wait for many more years to come with my big bro. Love you, Miles.
I wanted to be just like you. If I only knew then what I know now, then what I know now. If I only knew then what I know now, then what I know now.
The next song on our list is the song Hear Me Now. Now, this is a song that is a pretty positive, really feel-good song. I believe it's sort of a love song in a sense. I remember watching the music video where it was Tommy Vext doing a collab with the singer Diamante. Now, when I bought the album and I listened to it, it was completely different. I'm going, why the heck is Diamante not on there? But it's a really feel-good song, and I like feel-good songs once in a while. Just because I listen to a lot of brutal death metal songs does not mean that I like songs that are, you know, very uplifting, very positive, even fucking love songs like this song right there. It's a generic love song, but it's a really feel-good song as well, and I absolutely like it.
I don't wanna live for nothing, just wanna be something. I never knew what it took to earn. I don't wanna live for nothing, just wanna be something. I never knew we'd be more than friends.
And now it is finally time to address the elephant, or in this case, zombie, no pun intended, in the room. Bad Wolves' cover of the Cranberries' iconic song, Zombie. So let's begin. Now this cover has quite the amazing story, but I'm going to be talking about the story behind the cover, my initial thoughts, and my, somewhat criticisms of the song, as well as how I feel about the cover in general. So let's get to it. Bad Wolves was in the process of making the song Zombie. They decided to show their cover to Dolores O'Riordan, whom actually really loved the song, and they decided, hey, you wanna, reprise your role into the song? She says absolutely. But unfortunately, that never happened, because on January 15th, 2018, she unfortunately passed away. But Bad Wolves decided to use the remaining money that they used to make this song and use it for charity for Dolores O'Riordan's children, which I think is a very, very, very noble thing to do. But this is the one thing that I absolutely cannot stand over this cover. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the cover, but the one problem that I have with it is that it was so overhyped to where the point where it was like the #1 single into like 40 countries, completely overshadowing the rest of the songs off of Disobey. I mean, there's some other great songs off of this album. Personally for me, Remember When is my favorite off of this album. But this cover was just so overhyped. But the good thing about it is that a lot of people listening to this cover are getting into the Cranberries. I mean, fucking hell. I got into the Cranberries because of Bad Wolves. So that's a plus right there. Not to mention that my cousins and my uncles were very saddened to hear about the death of Dolores O'Riordan. I sent them their cover for Bad Wolves. They really did enjoy it. But I was also going through a major fields trip around in February, and I decided to make a really, really, really tear-jerking AMV. Which, it was a big tearjerker. Now, to all you Battlefield 1 fans and Gears of War fans, you'll know why it's a tearjerker. If you want to see it, it's down in the description below. So strap in, people, cause it's a feels trip. But what do I feel about this song? I think the song is a very, very noble, very beautifully, written cover in tribute to the late Dolores O'Riordan. I think it was very appropriate. I think it was appropriate on how Bad Wolves decided to give the remaining money to donate for her children. It is a really beautiful song. Really does detail like the stuff going on with conflicts, like for instance the Syrian civil war still raging on. I think the song Zombie is a big testament onto the stuff that's going on in the world and stuff. But yep, have a listen.
With their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their drones in your head, they are crying. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie.
Disobey, without a doubt, is an absolute strong start for the band Bad Wolves. Though it's a relatively new band, a lot of the members are absolute veterans in the metal music industry. Tommy Vext, without a doubt, is a great vocalist, always killing it. Doc Coyle, never a dull moment hearing some of his shredding, along with Chris Chan and Kyle Conkeal following the rhythm. John Boakland is an absolute powerhouse as usual on the drums. And I think that this is a very strong, fresh beginning for the band Bad Wolves. Disobey gets a 9 out of 10 for this review. So what did you guys think about Disobey? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Leave your comments down below. Without further ado, ladies and gents, I am Atticus, the Death Metaller. Hope you liked this video. Subscribe to my channel. Links are in the description below. Keep it metal and have an excellent day, everybody.